All right, so we're going to set into the beginning of the practice that's going to have a very kind of clear definition of opening the chest and opening up the ribs, and it's a supported bridge pose. So what you're going to do is place your body to sit on a block in front of your bolster, and the bolster's across the mat, and you want to anchor your feet so they are centered about hips distancing apart. Approximate, right? You might feel a little bit more comfortable with them slightly out from there. And then as you look around for the other props, you want to be sure your belt is behind you. The sandbag could be right next to your hip. You might use it in the beginning pose, but I would be a little wary of it to plant it on your ribs first off. So keep it in easy reach. So as we lower down, we're going to take a couple minutes in this entry pose. So as you lean your body back, you want to feel the kind of the appropriate amount of spacing at the ribs, extension of the core chamber, so elongating the core, and then take a hold of your belt. And when you hold on behind it, and take a wide reach with your hands, so it's a rather generous sensation of opening the chest. You can let the legs stretch down so you have length. Now, considering that today we're going to focus on elongation and lengthening out of the core and just giving a little bit more spaciousness to that inner environment that we inhabit, okay? So the feet could be stepped out a little bit, so the heels just move out a little wider than hips distance. It's kind of pleasant. The feet could relax. And if you feel you want a little bit more awareness, kind of moving into the rib cage, you can always add your sandbag, right? So if you decide, this is mediocre, just set your belt, keep it nearby, and then lift up the sand and cross it either at the rib intersection or at the top of the thighs. Now keep in mind, thigh top is a little more intense on your lower back, so the midsection tends to be rather slumped forwards. So chest openers are really medicine for our, not only our nervous system, but our structure. So I'm going to keep that sand along the side, so it's horizontally on my rib cage, and then take a few moments here to measure the pace of your breath. Let your eyes close. Feel the intake of oxygen filling the body, and then feel as it sweeps out of the lungs. Feel where your hands are holding onto the belt. And then I really recommend that after a few more of those breaths that you let go of your belt and you stretch your arms out on the floor so the back of the arms touch, the chest opens, the legs extend down, and the shoulders center back. So widen at the ribs, center your hips, scan the body and remark on any areas that could use some attention, some sensation to open up and give a little bit more space and elongation. Now that we've set up for a kind of clearing of the front body, moving into the side chambers, right? The sides, the ribs, the hips, the side of the leg, the knee. And that takes a little bit of energetic focus and placing the props in a manageable way for order, right? To create that environment to elongate the sides. So what we're going to do is, before we get to that space, bring your feet in, bending the knees, feet walk in, and move your knees out, feet together in reclining cobbler's pose. And if this is a little bit of a intensification in the knees, you might decide, well, I'm going to let my feet slide a little farther down. And if I draw them a little farther up, it does kind of promote that knee circulation. So do what seems reasonable for your hips and knees, but we're definitely starting to work towards other channels of energy in the body, other awareness patterns through our structure. Okay, now bring the knees to point up, and then as your feet step out, you're going to move your sand off of your center, and then lift up your hips and slide the block aside and roll to your left. Okay, so if you have a block or you've got one of those massage balls, you can use either. You're going to place it on the inner side of that right leg, and as I lean into the left side, I'm going to work my way into side sage right away. So we've got our brain side down, and you could go without a sandbag on this. Yeah, it might even feel good if we're in it for a short period, instead of trying to put stuff all over, right, to encourage a little bit deeper stretch. You can always bring that right arm to intensity, really trying to activate the bandwidth of the muscles in the chest and the muscles between the ribs. I kind of forget that those are muscles, the spaces between the ribs, but they move with your breath. So illuminate that rib cage expansion and contraction. Give a few more moments. So just notice the side that we are highlighting right now. It's the right side. So what we're going to be doing is really focusing through that right side for the next few minutes. So first we're in side sage. And if the right arm is in reaching modality, like it's striving, I want you to try to open that right arm towards the ceiling. So feel the chest span a little bit. Make sure that your brain can turn. So you could turn on the back of your head and feel the weight of the head resting into the blanket, opening the chest. Now the right arm reaches, and we feel that this creates a little bit of rotation. So why not? Let's take a few moments here. We have our hands on the floor as we twist. I want you to use this bolster for a moment and feel the hands on the floor like a little bit of a push-up, so we're not completely surrendering our weight into the bolster or the chest, but you feel the ribs kind of set on the bolster and the waist stretching. So feel that kind of mini push-up pattern. If you feel better to bring your right knee towards the left knee, that might feel more comfortable into your knee joints. Okay, so feel a little bit of that twist, and then start to walk your hands up onto the bolster, and then push yourself up to sitting, and then let's stretch our right leg forward, and feel the left knee. I like this when the left knee is kind of propped up on the bolster. It's pretty nice. You could keep it this way, and then take that twist again. So you're turning to your left, and you're trying to put both hands onto the bolster and using your core strength for this twist. We're going to go kind of a little bit simple, not too many adjacent props adding to this quite yet. Okay, reach the right arm forward to the leg and then bend your elbow. If you have a block, easy reach, place it under your right elbow and then lengthen the left arm over. So we're going right to the opposite side stream. Yeah, the left leg kind of lifted on the bolster makes it a little easier for your hip. It might be easier into what we go to next, but it does kind of prep you. It's a hip prep. So with that left arm in reach, now other things you could add, maybe at another time, would be like a belt under your right foot so you're pulling. But there's something to be said for minimal props of use on this one, and just feel the waist stretch. Okay, so as we reach the left arm back and we lift our spine back up, think about chest to chin. So you're trying to lift up the midsection, And then we're going to move our bolster from our left side, our leg, and we're going to move it forward towards the right leg. And then very simple, pull your blankets in, take a seat, right? We're following the right hip. That's the side we're focusing on, the right side. And then we'll take our blocks below the knees, not required, but helpful for the knee and the hip. I'm in a simple cross-legged position, so my right foot is forward of the left shin. And then I can add sand to the right thigh or pass. And reach your hands forward on your bolster. So you're touching onto the short end of your bolster and leaning forwards. Feel the back body extend. And feel into this right hip. Now organize the movement of your waist to the left side, okay? It's kind of a sneaky way we're going to move. So when you move your block from below the left knee, or if it's just to the side of you, place it under your bolster and lean into the bolster. So you're stretching through the right hip, the right side of the torso. This will be particularly kind of nice. We'll have this short package of poses, but really kind of get to the matter of the hip. So slide your hands to the bolster. Bolster dive is what I like to call this. If it's feeling too much for your right side, you can always put the bolster up on a short end and lean into it. This might even feel nice just for extending the wave of your back muscles, trying to feel that reach through the back. Okay, now let's lower down the bolster over to the side of your mat. So where you're looking right now, your bolster's on the left side of your mat. And we're kind of turning all around today. And then we're going to slide our legs forward and actually lower onto our backs. So you want one blanket on top of your bolster on the left, and then one blanket under your head. And as you lower down to your back, we're going to cross the right leg over to that bolster. And we kind of cut the chase here and get right to continuation of the hip. Okay, so feel that you're rolling a little to the left, actually the left thigh, versus trying to keep everything on your back. I want you to feel like you're kind of starting to juice the hips, right? Kind of feel the support through the hips. So sand right now would be helpful. So if I place the sand on the outer right thigh, okay, and then feel where I need to balance my leg on the bolster. So you might pull it a little higher up. So it really does support your leg. Now, I would give ourselves a little bit of time on this one to kind of let the pose mature in the ability to release the muscle tension. Poses have a maturity, right? They do, some of them get better with time. Right, some are get in and then get out, but feel where your left knee is bending, and then feel if you can let your brain roll to the right, relax your neck, and feel that right side of the chest open. Yeah, let's let our necks relax, feel the arms stretch out to the sides, and if you can let your eyes close for a few moments here. Experience the belly breathing. So my breath focus is to the belly expansion and contraction. Very simple. Now notice when we start the process of coming out of this pose, we come back center, we first move the sand, and then we'll make this kind of nice. We'll roll to our back and bring the left foot in, slide the left knee in, and then place that right foot to the left knee. And then as you bring your legs into your core, hold the back of the left thigh, and might as well kick up the leg. Right? Let the leg kick up. Feel the energy moving through the back of the leg, but also through the right hip. So you have a little bit of an inversion with the left leg. And you might hold the back of the left thigh and draw it a little closer to you. Of course, if that's not enough hip stretch, you can bend your knee again and focus on that is a little more in your hip. But they're both good. You need to have both for kind of a well-rounded practice. Now, when we lower down our left foot, uncross, okay, and feel around where that bolster is. I think it would be a good choice here to take the blanket off of the bolster, toss it over, turn the bolster so that you have it forward under your feet. And then you want to place your feet on that bolster so that when you push down into your feet, you lift up your hips and you stretch your arms back overhead. So hips lift up in bridge pose. And then as your arms go towards the ceiling, you lower down the spine. And since this will be the main part of the bridge pose sequence today, give it several rounds of draw bridge. Feel the energy of pushing and then lifting and then elongating the front. Yeah, and this may seem like a kind of a regimen or a routine you do in most of these restoratives, but it has an importance for strengthening the spine, opening the front body, and massaging in the back. So there's not many opportunities we have for that linking at the vertebrae. Right, cat-cow is not quite the same because you have pressure on your knees and your wrists. This is kind of a pose that most everyone can do. So last time you lift up, it's an all levels position. Now, as I lower down, take it easy. We're going to activate the core. So you're going to bring the to your chest, hold the back of your legs, and then roll up. And then when you find up, I want you to scoot back, pull the bolster in, and take a moment here. When you get your blanket from the other side, you're going to toss it towards your feet, and then toss the other blanket. This is definitely props. Get a lot of yoga practice today. And then you're going to turn. So you're going to be on the side stage for the second side, okay? So I've got now my bolster next to my right hip. My blanket's on the other side. It's actually pretty easy to arrange. And then when you lean to that right side, you might need something on the inside of the left leg, right? Not all knees are equal in one body. Or a ball if you have a grippy ball around. And then as you lean into it, we're going sand free on this version today, just for simplicity. So when you lean into your side, be sure that you're close and lifted over. So if it's unusually challenging, it's likely just that you're not close enough to your bolster. Okay. So I'm making this so it's comfortable for shoulders. Now that might mean for you that the upper arm has a block under the hand. So if you get to this position and you notice, I want to stretch this fully, but I feel like I'm kind of holding in my shoulder joint, then place a hand on a block overhead and feel the weight of the body lean into your bolster. Give it a few moments. I'm going to tap into where you're lengthening with your breath. Slow it down so that you're able to lower the heart rate, the blood pressure just on your own through deep cleansing breath. Now when you feel that side stretching, I know this one takes time, right? This one matures internally in the organs and the structure with giving it time for the ribs. So simply open your left arm towards the ceiling, the chest wide. Turn open. Let your head roll on the blankets. Feel enough rotation. And then very simple, you're going to roll back on down and turn so that your hands are at floor to help you create the twist. So I'm going to scoot my block away so my knees are connected and my thighs are together. And I feel this twist. So this is kind of the beginning of arm balances. And it's a longer twist for the spine versus sitting on the sitting bones and trying to put torque into the spinal column. So you might feel that the stretch of the belly is clear on this position, the waist. And then simply bring your hands up to the bolster. And then this final side, we'll stretch the left leg out and bring the right foot up, or right knee, up onto that bolster. And you can shift your prop so you'll nestle into it. And then we'll take a block besides the left leg. And first thing, we twist again, so our hands are onto the bolster. Your knee does not have to be on the bolster. If you would prefer it on the floor, you could. Seems obvious to me, it's a little easier for my joints. So turn to the right, try to really feel the right hand on the bolster to prompt your rotation. And then reach your left arm forward like you're tossing a frisbee. Bring your elbow down to a block near you, besides your left leg. And then start to stretch your right arm over. Give it a few moments here. I know that some of these dynamics of the sequencing is a little bit, tiny bit complicated today. So feel the coordination kind of build, trusting that our mind can help build sequences. That's the benefit of the brain. Beneficial. So feel what's beneficial here in your side. Give it a few more seconds. Now that we've kind of streamed through right side, and we previously were on left side with the sage, we're going to bring a right arm open. If you like to complete it with a twist, this is kind of helpful. I turn and I get my bolster and I'm going to move it towards my left leg. I'm going to take my blankies in. So now I'm getting into my yoga crossword puzzle here. Turning the other side. Left leg crossed in front of right. Maybe a block under my left knee. Maybe. Doesn't have to be. And then add some weight on the top of the left inner thigh. And then move your bolster straight up. Simple. Lean into it. Yeah, make waves in the spine. Exhale forwards. Really try to let the spine motion kind of be detected. It's a little challenging when you're seated to really feel that the spine has any wave of reality compared to when you're on your back. So use the breath to experience this. Now you have two options. You could be forward, and you could also take your bolster over to the right side and you could put a block under it, or just simply have it on the floor or tilt it up and lean into that bolster to the right. Bolster dive over to the right side. So you're leaning your weight down and feeling that sensation through the left hip, I'm assuming. So as the waist motions, brain lowers down. Okay, let's fine tune this work. So when we go to this final set, it's all about trying to get from our midsection to our hip and let things kind of clear out. So we'll move our bolster to the right side. And then as I start to come down on my back, I'm going to tilt my, bring my seat forward off the blankets, add my blanket on the right side to the bolster, put my blanket back, and then very simple. Now have your belt nearby, and then as you lower back, you're going to bring your right thigh besides the bolster, cross the left leg over on top of the bolster. Feel how the body kind of twists, right? So you have rotation. And the sand can go on the outer left thigh, and you might decide, nah, I'm good. So you get to decide. But we'll start adding in the belt for the legs and the hips and the whole stretchy elasticity of our spine to our leg in a few moments. So first thing, optional sandbag on the outer left thigh. Okay, first things first. Brain back, chest open, head rolls left. Now for all the time we spend with kind of our body in short cycles of kind of bursts of energy, this is nice to get this long burst of sensation through our extremities, which is obviously arms, legs, spine, and the brain turning. Rest your breath, receive, inhale, and relax on the out breath. Now we're going to switch over what supports this left leg. So what I'd like you to do is simply move your sand, okay, get a belt, and then move your left knee in center and place your belt under that left foot. Now, moments ago we did that reclining pigeon, so I want to give us a moment of this experience with the left leg first. So I'm going to hold the belt under that left foot and cross the leg over. So similar to where we just were, feel the awareness through the outer left thigh. If it's prompting a definition of length from the exterior and kind of the interior of the SI joint here. Okay, now the leg is kind of in a full bandwidth of motion, right, in this position, the knee especially. So as I bend the left knee, hold with my right hand on the belt, and then slide the right foot in and place the left foot to the right knee. We're going to hold the back of the right thigh now and find our focus drawing the legs in. Well, both of them really. So the right leg could kick up, it could stay bending, it's very individual. And get a feel if that left hip feels like it's kind of getting some energy, some circulation spiraling through the hip. If it's feeling in your back, I would rock a little side to side and try to ease the back. So it almost feels like there's no extra sensation in the back. Sometimes not feeling it is a good sign because it's not hurting. It's just in a kind of a Zen mode. So try to let the body start to move into that experience, kind of gel into calming. And let's give some equal support for the other side. So we're going to let go of the right leg, let the right foot come down, uncross, bring the right knee in, and bring the belt under the right foot. And then left leg straightens, and then I just cross the right leg over to the left side. This time I've added the belt on both hips. Get that full focus. So now what would it be like if we could get into legs up as a kind of a final process of basically draining the retention that that's experienced in our legs by standing into the feet, pushing down into them. So trying to reverse the way gravity flows through the body and especially the structure and the organs. So notice the connection in the hip and then give yourself this opportunity. If you want to go to the wall to have legs up, that's an option. If you're going to go and keep it right here in center, what you'll do is bring your knees in, kind of find where that bolster is. You don't have to roll yourself up to get into it. You can take your blanket off the bolster. And then it does take a little bit of a dance here though. You're going to lift your hips up and slide the bolster under the back of the pelvis. So you're in pretty intense bridge pose to get there. And then bring the knees up. And if you're going to use sand, you're going to add that on your feet. If you're going to go free of sand, you could let the feet kick up. It's up to you. It's up to your feet what they want to select. So when I push the feet straight up now, I've got that awareness of the whole back lane of travel for my leg and in my calves. And it's even a little stretch in my feet with the sand. So feel where the body moves the legs a little forwards. And then if you can move your arms out without any distractions besides the minimal. So if it's kind of close to call where your distractions might be, a cactus shape would probably be a pretty liberal position for the chest, but also condensing it. So my brain centers back on the blanket to bring some support in my cervical spine, so there's a little bit of flexion. And knowing that's important here, this pose has the benefits of shoulder stand, headstand, right? The idea is to reverse the flow of gravity. Also, the direction it flows through the organs. So it's actually resting our organs against gravity's constant pull. And the reason I have my blanket under my head is to bring circulation into my thyroid, parathyroid. So this is considered a Jalandhara Bandha. So my chin is gently moving down, thinking chest to chin, stretching my neck comfortably, and releasing the neck as much as I'm working on that, draining the lymph in the legs. Okay, let a few moments pass, enough time that the actual blood can move from the extremities to the vital organs. So your feet might get a little bit cold, maybe a little tingly as the blood pressure drops. And feel that solid awareness of your legs up and the stretch of your spine. Belly lifts and lowers. Keep the pose rather potent by liberating the breath and centering the mind. And now feel the knees bending. If you have the sand, what you'll do is either carefully drop it overhead or reach for the sand and slide it off your feet. So as the knees soften, and I'm in a bit of a cannonball shape, I'm going to lower my body in a moment. So I'm going to hold on to, put my hands on the bolster, push it forwards, very close to my rear still. And then as I push a little farther front, I'll put my feet on the bolster, the knees out in Baddha Konasana. So you might have to scoot your upper body back or push the bolster farther forward. They both do the same thing for waist stretch. Arms are open. It's kind of a gradual meditative ending that has a progression all the way to the last breath. Okay, knees are going to windshield wiper side to side, so my feet step out a little bit on the bolster, and then the knees swish from side to side. Ease the ribs and the legs into your back. Kind of feel it move. Ripple effect through your legs, your ribs, your back. Yeah, seems like we have a pretty well-rounded set today. So when we bring our legs back into chest off the bolster, just let your body roll to one side. Your hands settle down to push you up. Take a blanket or a bolster under your sitting bones, and let's take a mini moment here to let the spine elevate. Feel the chest lift up towards the chin, and then bring your hands to the heart and bow your head to your heart. Inhale together and exhale, bowing into the space behind your heart. In gratitude, namaste. Thank you.